Good morning and happy Friday there, gentlemen. A little delayed on getting this out this morning, but still kind of putting some thoughts together. Um, figure we'll jump right in here on the Bitcoin daily chart and just kind of go through some of what I'm thinking about. In terms of this little piece of pricing action here, still respecting this upper trend line from this rising channel that we broke out of back here. So until it stops respecting it, we got to assume it continues to. So for the time being, we're getting another bounce. Um, so as far as that part goes, you probably noticed over the last few days, I mean, there hadn't been a ton of action really going on. More or less just trading sideways. One thing I find that when you start getting topping patterns, you start getting those volatile moves in either direction, which we saw a little bit yesterday. And then also you tend to get this kind of like this three drive to the, whether it's, a topping or a bottom pattern, you tend to get this three drive pattern where you're going to get multiple pushes to one direction or the other before it finally reverses. Typically with the third and final one being, whether you're reversing to the high side or low side, that third one is typically going to be either higher or lower than the second one, to signify that in fact the trend has reversed direction, and then you're typically going to get a pretty sizable move from there. I mean, that's part. It's I guess to an extent, kind of what happened here. You get a drive, boom. Um, but in either case, really nothing extreme to update here at the moment. Assuming that this does keep respecting this line, you can see that we'll just keep making our way up towards this 47,000 number that we've talked about a few times now. I did add a trend line here. This guy coming across, you can see a touch there, a couple touches. The reality is, I expected this trend line. I mean, if that trend line doesn't ultimately reject us, it's going to explode up above it. But chances are pretty good that that trend line is going to reject our pricing action here, and help us to go ahead and retrace back down into this pattern. I posted that bearish crab, or not bearish crab, the 8-wave Elliott wave cycle the other day, and that's we're going to be looking for a move back down into here, which is totally logical. Because we've got this rising channel. You can see I put this rounded bottom in there. Really, that was more just to help me remember that this is ultimately what I'm looking for to play out. But it'd be perfect because maybe we come up here, we retest the bottom boundary of this rising channel, maybe even fall out of it. That we could almost say that that might be a bear fake in the making, or bear trap, bearish fake out to the downside, maybe even come outside of this pattern and then reverse back into it. Totally typical in this market. You don't want to make things too obvious, so you're going to get moves that, like this right here, realistically, this maybe shouldn't have fallen out, but maybe you get a point where too many longs, too many shorts, whatever. So you got to kind of alter the market a little bit and alter the outlook. So get a little bit of craziness, but hey, we're going into the weekend. So generally speaking, I'd probably think that this is just a slop for a couple of days, but with us heading into the weekend, I do think right now we're getting a rejection, and you'll be able to see that here. I want to change up the time frame for you. Getting a rejection right now, and I was expecting that at this price level that we're at. Actually, let's zoom in on the 4-hour here in just a second, and we'll wrap this video up today. We'll keep it pretty short, but and actually we'll even get it a little closer to the action. Basically, really all we got going on here is we're dealing with some support and resistance levels, getting rejected at this resistance right now, which was expected. I mean, we had candles that were closing below it. It was showing signs that it was reversing. Now the question is, do we hold this trend? Do we hold this Fibonacci level? Do we move down to the next support and resistance level? Just depends, but it's doing exactly what we've been talking about, just kind of working its way through these levels. Here is trend line 1, here's trend line 2, here's trend line 3. I think for right now, my best guess is that we probably will be able to maintain this, but the S&P's opening, the stock market's opening up. S&P's starting in the red briefly here. The futures were green early, but Everything again, once again, sitting under overhead resistance. So, expecting some volatility here. Um, the only other thing I wanted to kind of point out, and just kind of in terms of what I'm looking for, if we come down into this box right here, this is the RSI. This is a 4-hour RSI. And what I did here is I kind of color code my approach. So this is a daily trend line. You can see that even on the 4-hour, it's respecting this daily trend line for now. I'd rather not see us lose this, but if we do, then we just want to make sure that if we lose the 4-hour trend, we're pop back in and at least reclaim this daily. This pattern right here is a falling wedge. It should break to the upside at some point, and a lot of times you'll see these falling wedges break outside of patterns and then break back into them again. Bearish fake outs, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, that's basically what I'm looking for today. This is where we're getting that rejection, I assume. Maybe rolls back down here, maybe even rolls down here, and how that relates back to the pricing action. Well, you can see here on the as far as the moving averages are concerned, we're getting rejected by the 21, which means chances are pretty good a move to the 50 is in order. So that's potentially what we're looking at here for today. Potential move lower. It's pretty common that on the weekends the Bitcoin price action is a little quote unquote scammy. So a lot of times you do get run-ups on the weekend that wouldn't normally be anticipated. So don't be surprised if during the stock market trading day to day, we see Bitcoin roll with it and just kind of push lower. And then maybe over the weekend still see Bitcoin recover and push to the upside. But lots of fun here. As far as it goes, just, I keep an eye on those stock positions there. I still think that there's a chance we roll over and drop another 10% off the market before it finally pushes on to a recovery, but we'll see. Enjoy your weekend, gentlemen. We'll catch up soon.